Salman Sos is the national spokesperson of the Congress party. Sanju Verma is representing the BJP. Rajat Sethi is a political analyst. Rashid Kidwai is author and political analyst. Salman Sos, the flashpoint was ignited by Rahul Gandhi himself. If he quotes from an unpublished book, then the Congress should be perhaps prepared to listen to the Treasury benches when they are quoting from all the published books.
Well, first of all, when the leader of the opposition speaks in Parliament on a very vital national security matter, then he's referring to an article in an Indian magazine about the memoirs of the former Army Chief General Naravane. And what we saw was the speaker did not let him speak. Basically did not let the leader of the opposition speak. Mind you, he talked about how the speaker said there are rules and norms which do not allow publications, books, etc. to be quoted in Parliament. Meanwhile, the same speaker was presiding over a session when Prime Minister Modi, who somehow is in love with foreign countries and foreign publications, was quoting a Harvard University publication.
No, that's a publication.
Party.
There's a difference.
No.
Salman, no. I'm a published author myself. So let's be clear about the first draft, the manuscript, and a published book.
No. Rahul Gandhi was quoting an article.
From an article.
From an article. And by the way, this is a very serious matter. And the reason it is a serious matter is because there are multiple reasons. First, the Prime Minister is on record. He has said, ना हम कोई हमारी सीमा में घुस आया है, ना ही कोई घुसा हुआ है, ना ही हमारी कोई पोस्ट किसी दूसरे के कब्जे में है. This is the Prime Minister of India.
So that's not
saying.
even
No, wait.
I've gone through that article also, Salman. So there is certainly a problem here because as it is, you're quoting from an article. Second, you're quoting from an unpublished book, which is unverified.
I'm quoting right now what the Army Chief.
So let me bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, this is a case. This is a classic case of tit for tat.
What did General Dwivedi say? General Dwivedi said that we need China to go back to status quo ante 2020. What does that mean? Where does China have to go? Who will answer these questions?
Salman, I am talking about the books which have come out. Now, for every point that is being made here, because you ignited the entire fire, you have opened the can of worms. So be prepared for any counter which is coming now from any counter that is now coming from the BJP. Go ahead. So, you know, I'm seeing a very, very positive change now in Parliament, Sanju Verma, when it is the books which are being discussed. Politicians are now looking at books. They're quoting it liberally as well.
You know, Marya, like you are a published author, I've published 2 books on Modinomics. So right. I'm a published author too. So I know a thing or two about books being published and being out in the public domain, and books which are now out in the public domain and are still in the manuscript stage. But let's get to the bottom of this. First and foremost, Manoj Mukund Naravane, the former army chief, said 3 very important things. A, he said that not an inch of land was ceded by India to China. Second, he said China was at the receiving end. The third point he made was, we stared at the neighborhood bully in the eye, in a reference to China, fair and square. But look at Rahul Gandhi. He chooses not to quote the flattering bits. He chooses to completely falsify the larger picture as is available supposedly in M.M. Naravane's book. But I want to say one thing, Marya. You know what? The same Congress party, which is today standing in solidarity with Manoj Naravane, has a history of undermining our armed forces. Do you remember a man called Sam Manekshaw? He retired in 1973. He died in 2008. He was given his pension in 2007, 34 years after he retired, because a petty leader like Indira Gandhi could not digest the fact that Sam Manekshaw told her Zulfikar Ali Bhutto made a monkey out of you. Then let us not forget the former army chief A.S. Vaidya. All his advisories to Indira Gandhi were discarded when she went ahead with Operation Blue Star. Let us not forget former army chief K. Sundarji. Every advisory of his was discarded by Rajiv Gandhi, the father of Rahul Gandhi, before he launched the highly unsuccessful Operation Pavan, whereby more than 3,000 IPKF forces were killed and there was so much bloodshed on both sides.
Why did you not interrupt? Why did you not interrupt her even once, Marya? Not once did you interrupt her, even when she was quoting from the same book that you seem to have issues with when we are quoting. When she talked about, listen, she quoted three things she said were positives. But you, Marya, did not.
No, Salman, don't. No. So, Salman, either you come and moderate the show or you don't keep telling me what I'm doing.
What kind of double standard is this? Why are
there is a difference between a published and unpublished book.
But she was quoting from Naravane's book. As she was quoting from there, you didn't say anything. That is, I'm sorry, Marya.
General, no, listen to me. Listen to me. It's very good for all of you to talk about books. But there is a problem here, Salman. If you have ignited the fire, then be prepared for all the muck which is there against the mishandling of the China issue in 1960s will surface. Please go ahead.
Let me tell you about China. Let me tell you about China.
Let her finish. Let me finish. Yes.
Marya, I don't understand. I did not heckle Salman Sos even once. Can we have a sensible debate for a change?
1,383 Indian soldiers were killed by China.
Marya, I refuse to debate like this. Either you take me on air or I don't want to be a part of this tutu mehmet gibberish. Let me now say one thing very clearly. There is a book called The India-China War by Neville Maxwell. There is another book called The Himalayan Blunder by none other than former Brigadier J.P. Dalvi.
Yes.
And of course, there is another book called My Years with Nehru by B.N. Malik. And they have all said one thing, Marya. They said that we lost the 1962 war to China because of two things. Nehru's arrogance and Pandit Nehru's incompetence. So for the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi to be flagging Naravane's book on the floor of the parliament and trying to make a point is laughable. I will just end in 10 seconds by saying one thing. You want to discuss books? When I say you, I mean the Darbari ecosystem.
Okay.
Let me tell you one thing. And this you won't like, Marya, 10 seconds. The author is a man called M.O. Mathai, one of the closest confidants of Rahul Gandhi's grandmother, Indira Gandhi, before they fell out. What does M.O. Mathai say in his book, Reminiscences of the Nehru Age? He says, I was in a relationship with her. I was in a relationship with Indira Gandhi.
Okay, let me get a response from Salman Sos and then I go to others. Salman Sos.
I will just say this. I want the people of this country to just listen just for 1 minute. One, when the India-China war happened, 1962, 1,383 Indian soldiers were killed. And the BJP has made it a routine thing to mock the sacrifice of those people by targeting Pandit Nehru. And by the way, Pandit Nehru spent 9 years in jail. 9 years in jail so that we could have the freedom, so that this woman could have the freedom to disparage his memory. The founder of this country, this shameless person and her leader, shameless people. They are the ones who talk against Indira Gandhi. The prime minister who led India to the finest victory that this country has seen in military terms, and who gave her life for this country. They talk about the Gandhi family, the Rajiv Gandhi, the man who started India's modernization and was killed brutally. Shameless people, ungrateful people. That's what has become of them.
Okay.
Do you have no shame, people?
Rajat Sethi come in now and also Rashid Kidwai. Rashid Kidwai, multiple books. In fact, the BJP says that there are close to 150 published books which talk about alleged corruption of the Nehru-Gandhi family, which will also become now admissible on the floor of the House.
So, Maria, first of all, we must get facts right. Because in the entire debate, what I am seeing, the facts have become a casualty. Simple thing starts with General Narawane's book. A book was written, it was submitted, it was published, it was not allowed to be distributed because certain parts of it are, sought to be removed by MOD. So this is not an unpublished work as it stands today.
No, no, no.
So it is wrong.
Rashid,
Yeah.
Rashid, there is a
No, no, please
difference.
don't tell me
There
no.
is a
No, no, no.
Rashid, there is a difference. There is a difference. The
What is the
difference
difference?
here is that the book has to be approved by the
No,
MOD, then only it can be
no,
released.
no, 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 no. Look, Maria, what is the, you know if he had sought permission at the time of writing book, and if the permission was denied, then perhaps this was justified. So when the book was written, after that, ipso facto, the objections have been raised, and this is being going on between Penguin and the author and MOD. So
Yes.
this is not a simple case of somebody seeking permission to write, and General Naravane has not denied even one line of it. So, and to equate General Arama's work and his writing with the trash that was written by Mathai and others. In any case, the chapter that she's talking about was removed, was not published. Now, if when it comes to banning and extra books, that's a bad optics. That was wrong of the past. But let me also say that each case was very different. Many books that were published outside India were not allowed to be imported by the Commerce Ministry on grounds that it is a product and the product doesn't suit us. So that are bad optics of the Congress regime. Now, to say that journals had differences with political prime ministers, indeed. So why we don't mention about Admiral Vishnu Bhagwat? Why she skipped that name? So what I'm saying in nutshell, Maria, this whole narrative is built up, it's curated, and it is aimed at deflecting from the core issues. The
Okay.
key issue is that a member of parliament is entitled, regardless of this, everything under the sun can be discussed in Parliament of India. All that member needs to do
What
is to
happened to the
authenticate.
proceedings then? What happened to the proceedings
I
of the
want to
House?
make a point here.
No, let
Can
Rajat
I?
Sethi come in. Ma'am, please
The,
let Rajat Sethi come in. He hasn't spoken. Rajat.
Well, Marya, there are a few technical points here, and then there are a few more substantive points. The technical points being that can anything under the sun be put forth on the parliament and be discussed?
Yes.
The answer is no. You cannot be discussing a lot of things. There are clear boundaries. Those boundaries are debated, discussed upon in the business advisory committee of the parliament. They discuss through, and if you allow one book, then all kinds of books, maybe serious, non-serious, all of this will get tabled, and the whole discourse will lead to another level. The second thing was, of course, here is more serious, is whether it was published or not. And any serving or a recently retired army officer or a bureaucrat cannot come out and publish about the nitty-gritties or the actual operative aspects of an ongoing war / an operation. This is 101. This is not created by Prime Minister Modi's government. This has been in place for all the years. So there is a degree of sensitivity involved, and this is why the permissions were withheld. I am a published author. I had printed the map of India, of the Northeast India, on my book. I could not get the permission because this was prior to independence, that map. I could not get the permission, and all the covers of my book after getting published were purged. That's how it happens. All publishers, and it was published by Penguin, the same publisher even in this case, they have to take this matter for due approvals from the required ministries. They need to
Yes,
give
that's
a
the process.
go-ahead, and it was not given here. It is as simple, and certain early books are always published and distributed for reviews. This is the reason why certain copies were there in the public domain, but it was never put out for sale. Even the Amazon link was only for pre-order. They had jumped the gun there. They did not seek the adequate permissions. Hence, a book which did not have the adequate permissions was being tabled in the parliament, and it talked about certain sensitive operative aspects of decision making.
Okay.
You have a defense committee, you have processes and procedures within the parliament to hold the government accountable away from the public player. And if you deem fit that these go through the, the due processes, and yes, it can be discussed in public domain, by all means do that. I am free and open. I believe that there should be open discussions. But I don't see anything. Where is the brouhaha coming from? This is very important, Marya. Prime Minister has said that I give the degrees of freedom required for the man standing on the ground. I don't withhold that degree of freedom away, deciding in my ivory tower the way it happened in 2008 when our armed forces was ready to go out and attack Pakistan after the ferocious terror attack that they did in Mumbai. Our Prime Minister, who was sitting inside, took the decision in his own ivory tower that they need not go out and attack Pakistan.
I have just enough time. I have just enough time for Sanju Verma, being the woman on the show. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Rashid Kidwai is a very erudite person. He said, tracks written by M.O. Mathai. M.O. Mathai has clearly written in his book, I was in a 12-year relationship with Indira Gandhi before I decided to end it.
My dear friend, that's not part of the book. That's not part of the book. The chapter C was removed.
Mr. Kidwai, please keep quiet. Marya, this is not done. Each time I'm speaking, you allow your other guests to heckle me. What kind of a debate is this?
Go ahead,
Mr. Kidwai, please show dignity to the other spokesperson. I did not intend that you keep quiet.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead. 30 seconds.
Yes, let me repeat now. M.O. Mathai in his book said, I had a 12-year-old relationship with Indira Gandhi before I decided to end it when I saw her standing behind the curtain with another man. He was referring to none other than Dhirendra Brahmachari. This is in the public domain. And let me tell you, Tavleen Singh has written a book called Darbar, where she clearly says if you're not a Darbari, willing to toe the Darbar's line, as in the Nehru-Gandhi Parivar's line, you will be discarded. There's a book written by Kumi Kapoor, The Emergency, which shows the dark side of Indira Gandhi. There is a book written called
It's a long list. We can talk about all the books because certainly now it looks like that it will be a lot of literary discussion that the parliament will be seeing. But the larger question really is that who really, is this the direction in which the parliamentary debates should be finally headed? Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Sanju Verma, Salman Sos, Rajat, Sethi and Rashid Kidwai. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.